What's up? Plutty Sports Gamer here, and I get this quick video on referee situation in the NFL. Referee has been atrocious at times during NFL games. There's a lot of conspiracy theories going on where the NFL wants certain teams to win, so they tell the NFL referees to side the calls to one team over the other at critical situations in the game. I believe that's true. I believe that the NFL wants certain teams in the Super Bowl, so they favor certain teams making the playoffs and making a deep run to the Super Bowl. Do you think the NFL wants a Jacksonville, Minnesota Super Bowl? I think not. They'd rather see like a 49ers Chiefs, 49ers Bills, Eagles. They want these big city teams with a big following to make the Super Bowl so they get the higher ratings and more advertising money. So we got this article here. The shoddy officiating and pivotal Rams-Seahawks game under fire. Lions should be livid. I don't know. Part of me thinks the NFL maybe didn't want Detroit to make the playoffs. They'd rather have Seattle make the playoffs. I'm not positive because you would think that they would lean towards Seattle. So in this article, we got only Detroit can get royally screwed by the refs in a game they're not even playing. Thanks to in part to missteps by NFL officials in the Seattle Seahawks Rams, the Lions playoff hopes last week was dashed even before they started playing. Adam Scheffler reports some around the NFL think the Lions should be livid about several pro-Seahawks calls in the Seattle win in overtime. Multiple executives and coaches said the NFL needs to re-evaluate how it chooses and trains its official staff for future sessions. Even the NFL's competition committee is aware of what one source described to ESPN as the worst officiated game of the year. Now, I think officials, they lean way too much towards instant replay. You can see in touchdown calls, it's even close. They're going to call touchdown and rely on instant replay to get the call right. It's been a fact throughout the years, and I don't like instant replay because it really slows down the game. It makes it even more unbearable to watch sometimes when they take forever at an instant replay. Some instant replays last over 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get the call right. They got so many angles that the ref has to look at getting the call right. What the NHL does correctly for instant replay, man, they have people in New York looking at the videos and making the call to the ref themselves instead of the ref looking at a video, which is probably better. It'd be faster, but the NFL doesn't do that. They want the head referee to make the call for some reason. So the committee, a group of league coaches and executives that examine rules and officiating practices each offseason, was frustrated by the Seattle-LA game, as were the Lions and Rams. One source told ESPN this week that the NFL must do a better job of screening, hiring, and training its officials. This league can't have games in which team seasons are on the line and have questionable and impactful calls, such as the one in the Rams-Seahawks Week 18 game. I think the NFL, they rely on too much of checking a box, having certain officials be in the NFL instead of having quality officials in each crew for the NFL games. Like this is the problem with the world today. I'm probably going to get slammed for this, but it's too much on checking a box, making sure they have diverse work group or officials or whatever, instead of having the most quality people in the workforce or in officiating. And it's frustrating to see, and it should be straightened out. There should be quality. Yeah, maybe there should be more training. The officials will improve with training, but it's not. If they're getting it wrong repeatedly or they get it wrong a lot, then I think these officials should get fined. They shouldn't, like, if they make a bad call, an obvious bad call, their pay should be fined. It should be in their contracts, which we'll never do because they're unionized. But anyway, their contract should stipulate if you make a bad call, you should be docked pay. If your quality goes down, you shouldn't get paid as much as you do. These officials get paid a lot of money to be one game a week or 2 games a week. That says, but how bad was officiating in Seattle? To be fair, the Lions fans I used to complain about refs. They do it while overcoming questionable calls during their own Packers game. This is nothing too new, right? A running into the kicker penalty on LA with 8:47 left in fourth quarter should not have been called. The flag player Rams pushed into Seahawks punter Michael Dixon, meaning the flag should have been picked up. The Seahawks were trailing by 3 at the time. Instead of punting to the Rams in their own 21, they maintained possession, later tied it at 16 with over 2 minutes left. And who knows, that could have been the game right there. You've seen it many times. Sometimes you get the calls right. The guy's getting pushed into the punter. There should be no flag, but there was a flag. There's too many times where in critical parts of the game, these refs are throwing flags. Like offensive holding. They could call offensive holding at any time during the game. There is so much holding going on, but they call it at certain points of the game, at critical points in the game. And sometimes they don't call it at all at critical points in the game. I've always said, like, the 49ers got screwed out of the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. The Chiefs' offensive line was holding all night, holding the 49ers. 49ers had an awesome defensive line that year, and the Chiefs were holding. They didn't call them at all. And it changed the game. Kansas City made a comeback because of it, and that's history. Yes, I'm bitter. So later in the quarter, tied at 16, Rams corner Jalen Ramsey was called for unnecessary roughness and friction on Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith. That would have made Dick Lane shudder in disbelief. Not only did the officials possibly err in throwing the flag in the first place, it appears Ramsey was pushed out of bounds at the same time as Smith ran out of bounds, causing the two to collide. I don't see it that way. But anyway, Geno Smith, when he was running, he was turning up towards the field. I know a lot of players are afraid of touching the quarterback just for this case, but Geno Smith was turning up the field. How is Ramsey, this is a critical part of the game, how does Ramsey know that he's not trying to cut in to the center of the field and try to get more yards? So he hit him. And it's not like the Ramsey was just standing there and Geno ran into him and he just lowered his shoulder and hit Geno and they called a flag. But then DJ Metcalf was seen sticking his finger inside Ramsey's face mask after the play, which should have prompted a penalty. And he also headbutted Ramsey. And that should have been called too. It would have been offset, and they would have played the down over, even though the Seattle kicker missed it anyway. So here it is. Like, he's turning up the field. He just stand there and lower his shoulder. That should not have been called. Then there's DJ poking him, and is right in front of the ref. Poked him in the face mask right in front of the ref. You can see another angle where the ref was looking right at. See, he's going straight up the field. Watch. He got pushed and poked. The ref's right there looking at it. Then in overtime, Geno Smith should have been flagged for intentional grounding. He just threw it away. It was like 10 yards from any receiver just to get it out of his hands, and they didn't call it. So for some reason, Seattle got all the benefits of these calls. And my conspiracy theory is the league maybe wanted Seattle in the playoffs. I don't know. Who knows what they were thinking. But in turn, I think refs for these calls, they should be penalized in some way for missing these calls. They shouldn't go on, no penalty, no at all, for missing calls during the game. These games are highly critical. A lot of money is involved. The refs should be held more accountable for their mistakes. And we got an NBA. The NBA is good. They have people review the last 2 minutes of every game, see what calls were missed, what not. But the Mavericks-Lakers game, in the last 2 minutes of the game, this is not the whole game, just the last 2 minutes, the refs missed 7 calls. And are they going to be held accountable? No, I don't think so. So what do you guys think? You think I'm overblowing the situation? Didn't you think these refs should be penalized? Leave a comment below and subscribe and like if you like this content. Thanks. See ya.